What time is it, my creatives? That's right, it's photo hacking time. And so today I wanted to share with you guys how to make a gold foil texture from scratch. This is super easy, guys. I'm even going to show you how to make it seamless in seconds, in absolute seconds. And I'm using what we would call mathematics. It's going to be just the simple tutorial, and let's just get into it. By the way, I hope you guys are doing well. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new document. Now, most of you will probably think that you need to create some insanely large document to create a seamless texture, and you don't. Actually, the mathematical proportions to make a perfect seamless texture is actually 1,000 by 1,000. And it doesn't matter because we are going to create a template texture that is seamless, so we can make textures that are larger, so it doesn't matter that we're making something smaller. We're only making this 1,000 by 1,000 pixels because of mathematics, and you're going to see why in a minute. Why 1,000 by 1,000 makes the perfect seamless texture. We're going to leave it RGB. You can leave it at white because we're going to change all this, of course. All right, so I'm using Adobe RGB. You can use whatever color space you want. And so we've created this document here. We're going to unlock the layer in the layers palette. All right, and just by simply clicking the lock. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to go to we're going to do a filter on this. But before we do a filter on this, we need to pick our colors. So this is the seamless texture I created, and it doesn't matter. I mean, this is how I started here. So whatever color you want to use, but I'm just going to take the little sampler here and sample the color I used. So I used this color and this kind of like tannish white. So when you're making these foil textures, you always want to use a very light color, and then basically almost white, and then a darker color. So this one I'm using F8EBDE, and I'm using D3A57E. All right, and let's go back over here. I'm gonna close that out. That was from a previous video. And so your colors should be in your new document. So all you have to do is go to filter and go to render and clouds. Now this may seem like I'm doing the same tutorial as every other fucking tutorial on the internet, but it's not, okay? It absolutely isn't. So here is the new step. This is the layer. You're gonna duplicate this layer. Before we start doing any other crazy shit, we're going to go to filter, other, high pass, and we're at 48.4%. Press OK, and then we're going to select overlay, and we're going to merge those two fuckers together. Now we have our base here, and it is looking a little bit sharp, and you can also go into adjustments, curves, and you can adjust this, bring out some of the darks and the whites, however you want to do it. And then we're going to go to filter and then filter gallery. And you can make a ton of different textures here. This one is in the base relief, so you can make textures like this with some weird wavy rocky. You can select bottom right, bottom left, top left, top right, and you can make all of these cool different textures like this, like so. We'll make these later on, but and you can also do chrome textures too. But what we're going to be focusing on is the foil at this point. But I just wanted to let you know that I have other ways of making textures too. So this is going to be fun, guys. So we're going to go to glass and distort, and I have my settings at 23 and the scaling at 200, and I select invert, and then you press OK. Now you're going to duplicate this layer, and You can change some of the blending modes here. What I like to do is I like to go to hard mix, press 5, and then merge these two together. And then what I also like to do is I like to go to the curves and bring out the colors here. You can adjust this accordingly, but this like kind of like changes the color dynamics here. All right, so once you have that set up, you like the colors and whatnot, we're gonna go further and adjust the color. Now what I did here is I went into layer, new adjustment layer, and I added a gradient map. And then you can change the blend mode to something a little bit softer or lighter depending on what you want to do. But I used a color dodge and I put it down to about 20 something percent, yeah. And that is looking a little bit too bright. It's not looking like the same color that I had before. So I can actually go in and adjust the vibrance and the hue and saturation. And however you like. I don't like the way that's looking, so if this is looking a little bit too orange and you don't like the way it looks, you can create a new layer, press Control Delete, and with the same color here, and just do an exclusion and just bump down the fill here. All right, so that's looking a little bit gold, rose goldy. So I'm gonna press Control Alt Shift E, and I'm gonna group these layers. Okay, and I'm gonna turn them off and lock them. So what I'm gonna be doing here is working with this, and I'm going to put another gradient map on this, new adjustment layer, and let's go to gradient map, press OK, and then we're gonna go to color dodge and change it again. And this color, I'm going to make it a little bit, I'm going to change it this time. Change it to something different because it's looking a little bit too orange. Maybe a darker color, maybe a gray. And I'm going to use a different fill here. I'm going to use this screen instead. So it brought back a little bit of the whites, but I'm going to bump it up a little bit. And like so. And I'm going to duplicate that, duplicate the layer again, press multiply, bring down the fill. So we're just trying to make this a little bit more crispier. Then press Control Alt E again. Now the beauty of this, I know this is a lot of steps, and I'm just going to delete this, all this stuff, unlock it and delete it, is that once you create this texture, your base texture, and you're making like paper packs, you only have to create this one. So this saves you a lot of time. So once you have this, you're going to go back into image adjustments and curves, and you are going to bump up the whites, the darks, and then bump up the whites, the lights. Just kind of play with this. Don't want it to get too orangey. And press OK. Okay, and so if you want to, it's totally optional, but if you want to make these whites whiter, you can go to Image Adjustment, Selective Color, go to Whites, and then bump up the yellows just a little bit, and the blacks here. You don't want to do it too much, but that looks pretty good. All right, so here's how we make this seamless, and it is very simple, guys. So, and you can go in here and you can go auto tone and make this like a grayscale, because if you use it as a grayscale, what happens is that you can change this color to any color you want once you make it seamless. So that is the beauty of this. So now what we're going to do is, this is very simple. You're going to take the ruler and drag it all the way down to the 500 mark. And then you're going to take the side ruler and do the same thing. Now, if you don't know how to get your rulers, you're going to press Control R, okay? Now, create a new layer. This is the most simplest thing, guys. You're going to just copy this whole thing with your square tool, okay? You're just going to make a square right here. Press Control C. Oopsies. You got to select this layer, I'm sorry. Control C, and then paste it in this layer, okay? Then you're going to press Control T, and then right click on it and press Flip Horizontal. Then you're going to use your arrow keys and shift click it all the way over until it hits the edge. And make sure it lines up perfectly with this these ruler lines that we made, and then press enter. So now if we turn off our guides, we have part of this seamless thing going on that's perfect. So we're going to turn that back on. Now we're going to do the same thing at the bottom. We're going to select this layer. First we're going to create a new layer. We're going to select this bottom layer, and we're going to drag a square from our guides all the way down. Okay, we're going to press Control C, and then we're going to select that layer and press Control V. Then we're going to press Control T, right click on it, okay, flip horizontal, and then press Shift and the arrow key, and just like nudge it until it's all the way over perfectly. And look at there. Woohoo! Yee! All right, and then you press enter. Now, as you can see, we're about a pixel, maybe 2 pixels over. So just press Control T again and just slightly move it. So now if you turn the guides on and off, we have it perfectly set up. But wait, there's more. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new layer and press Shift Alt E, okay? And we're going to take these layers, group them, and we're only saving these layers in case we mess up. So we group them, turn it off, and lock it. So now we have to make the top seamless. And so we're going to go to over here and drag it out at the very top, okay? And we forgot to create a new layer. So we create a new layer, select the bottom layer, press Control C, Control V, okay? Now press Control T and right click, and we're gonna do flip vertical. Now we're gonna nudge this all the way down. Woohoo! So easy, right guys? And press enter. Now if we take our guides off, you can see that we have a perfectly seamless texture with the foil. So now if I press Control Shift Alt E, and I'm going to just unlock this and put these with the group in there, lock it, and now this texture is seamless. So if we go to Edit, Define Pattern, we have this seamless texture. And how you know it's seamless is that if you go to Image, no, it's not that. Filter Other, and then you go to Offset, 500 and 500, you can see that it is seamless. We're going to check it also here. All right, so okay, so now I'm going to show you on the text that it is seamless. That's just like this one. So this one is, I'm just going to select it by using my mouse and the Alt key holding it down, Option if you're on a Mac, and creating a second copy of this. And then on this copy, I'm going to say my seamless gold foil. I'm going to clear this style, okay? And we're going to start over so you can see that it works. So if you go to pattern overlay, that's the first seamless I made without all of the additions. So you can add additionals to it like I did. So this is the foil that I just made, and it's seamless. And how do you know it's seamless? Snap to origin, but you can drag it around, you can move it around. It is definitely seamless. So my mathematical genius worked. So it definitely works, and you don't need any it wasn't that quick. You're making seamless full textures with the quickness with like that. So once you have like the way you want it, you just press OK. And I have already created like a style here. So if you wanted to just copy the settings from how I created this, but let's just go in and look at what I created on here so you can add these to this effect. Now what I did was I went into bevel and emboss, and I added a color burn, a linear dodge, and these are the settings that I used. I used a contour of this little wavy thing here, and I used a texture of glitter to give it more crust, like in the foil, and to highlight. See all these highlights in here, the white highlights? That's how I did that, to make it look more like real foil. Then I used a satin overlay of a color burn of this pink to just kind of like soften the gold. I used a color overlay of color burn, a color overlay of hue, and a linear dodge and a pattern overlay. Now the easiest way to copy your styles once you like a style is to do this. So I can copy this layer style here, and I can add this to my seamless foil, okay? It'll make it just like that, but if I change the pattern, if I go in here and I use the pattern that I already used, okay, you can set it to normal. You can set it to different colors. You can change it in different ways. Let's go to pen light. You can use, see what it is, it's with the blending modes. You can change it to different things and get different effects, of course. Like this light gold, I like this luminosity is a great one that you can use over on top. But what we're going to do is we're going to start over, and we are going to clear this out, and we're going to add our own different stuff on here. And this is what I call building the texture. Now once you have a base here, you can save this base and you can change the colors, and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so I have made this base, all right? So first thing that we need to do is we need to lighten up the areas and then darken up the areas to make it a little bit more crispier. So how we do that is with a color overlay. So with a linear dodge, it will bring some of the whites back in, and with a multiply, it'll bring some of the colors darker in there. So let's go with, let's see, first of all, we have to figure out what color we want to use. So if we want to make it gold like this, of course, we're going to use a gold color. So I want to make a lighter gold like this one. So I'm going to use this like light yellow gold. And so what you would do is you'd set it to color burn, and you see that it has that crispiness. Now, if you don't like this gold to be so crispy, you can change the intensity, so you can make the foil smaller and you can move it around too. But I like it with the 100 setting. So, and you can also move this around to change it. So I really like that, but I'm not really too much digging this like yellowish color. So what we're going to do is we're going to add some more color settings on here. So this is another color burn. You can play around with the colors. If you add like the brighter reds in there, it can change the way, but if you add the cooler colors, it'll make it more green, and the redder colors will make it more yellow. So I'm just adding more red in here, which is why it doesn't look like anything now, but we're going to continue to layer this on here. So like I said, the pinks and the reds will make it more goldish, and you can also add different other things in here as well. So I'm going to try to make this as gold as possible. And you could just play, yeah, like that. So I like the darker color. It's coming in here. It's making it more goldish instead of the weird, how should I say, green looking gold. All right, so I have the bevel emboss in here. You can add a texture. So I've added a texture here. And like I said, I'm using a glitter texture, just a basic glitter texture to make it crusty. And I've set the scale to 71, the depth -382, invert. And so that is how I'm making this like it crusty, looking like a foil here. Now, the bevel emboss, you can make the crust brown, or you can make it whatever color you want. You can lighten it, or you can make it like a bright yellow. So I want to make this as bright as possible, so I'm taking it to the brightest yellow here. But it's not coming out the way I want. Sometimes you have to play with this a lot. So I'm going to just use, yeah, that looks better. So that is exactly, you just have to keep playing with it. And then once you have a base, you can set a new style here. And then you can basically add this to anything. So if you go up to here and you create a new layer, and then you add that style to it, you get your paintbrush out, you can paint in gold, and you can see that it is definitely seamless. So this is the first one, and this is the second one that I did. So it is definitely fun stuff to do. So let's go back to this base texture. Say you want to change this color and make multiple colors. Well, the best way to do that, and the easiest way I do that, is I create a new adjustment layer. But first, sometimes this texture is a little bit too dark to, how should I say, it's a little too dark for lighter colors. So if you're making lighter colors, so I would go to a new adjustment layer, and we want to take this, and do exposure. And what this does is that it doesn't exactly affect the texture itself, so it'll still be seamless, but when you save it out, it'll still have the color effects. So if you want to take some of this, the colors down a little bit, see, that's perfect. So a lighter color will go over this very well, and we brighten it up just like that. So that's perfect. So if you want to press Control-Shift-Alt-E, you have a copy of this, and then you go to Filter, Other, Offset. You can see that it is still seamless, and you go to Edit, Define Pattern. You just changed the color. It's still working. I'm going to clear this style here, and I'm going to put the pattern overlay so you can see. It's seamless. So that's a trick I learned with making these things. Now we're going to throw these away, all this away in the garbage. You got to unlock it first, throw it in the garbage, because we don't need that anymore. So you go to layer, new adjustment layer, and then you go to, you can either do hue saturation or color balance. So I'm going to go to hue saturation and press OK. And then you have the properties panel here where you have the hue and saturation. You can change the color now. And you just select this little down arrow button. It will start changing it. You got to press colorize, of course. And then now you can change this. You could do different hues. And each one of these will be seamless. So that's pretty cool. You can also do the image color balance too, and that's how I change a lot of my colors without actually having to recreate the textures over and over again. And you can actually create a custom palette. I'm going to go to window. Where is my swatches? Yes. So you can actually create whole, like I create whole palettes, and I will create textures from those palettes. So I hope that you guys like this video. I know it's kind of long, but I hope this is informative, and thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Bye.